We are live on YouTube.
Want to know what's going on in Belvedere, Illinois, or around the world? Then tune to BNNSradio.com on your computer or your mobile device and give us a listen. That's BNNSradio.com. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill. Like a strong cup of coffee
strained through your grandmother's sock.
The best part of waking up is... what the is this on BNNS Radio. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and guest do not necessarily reflect those of this station, the station's network, any other affiliates under this network, or its sponsors. Unless they do, and then we'll totally take credit for them, because this is radio, and that's how we roll.
God took Moses down to the sea. Well, Moses said, pick anybody but me. But God said, no, Moses, you're the man. Now split that Red Sea right down to the sand. You must be willing. Hey, 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 you must be willing. Raise your arms up over your head. Well, that's what Moses did, 'cause that's what God said. He was willing. Yes, he was willing. Now in this world there's a whole lot of strife. It can make you give up on the rest of your life. But never give up and never give in. Be willing to live in the skin that you're in. You must be willing. Hey, 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 you must be willing. Look to heaven up over your head and ask yourself, should you be willing instead? Will you be willing? Hey, 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 you must be willing.
Hey, coming up on this morning's edition of the Morning Show with Uncle Bill, we got a lot of weird news in there this morning, a lot of stuff. Some guy wondered what his problem was after he took 5 little blue pills. I hope you understand what I mean by the little blue pill. Hey, did you know that a Wisconsin bank lost all of its money in the flood? Woo! And a lot of other things. I want to discuss a little bit this morning before we get out of here today. I want to talk a little bit of politics, and we'll be back with that and a whole lot more on this edition of the Morning Show for the 19th day of July, 2017.
Never give up and never give in. No matter how hard your life has been, no matter how scared, no matter how tough, all you got to be is willing enough. You must be willing. Hey, 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 you must be willing. Whoa, whoa, you must be willing. No matter how tough, all you got to be is willing enough. You must be willing, willing to try.
Here we go. News, sports, comedy, politics, everything you would expect in a morning show. Faster than the fastest nightmare. Brighter than the dullest dream.
Right here.
Right now. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill. Grab your coffee and hang on. For the next 2 hours, the unexpected will haunt you, entertain you, and drive you absolutely insane. So let's get started. Here's Uncle Bill.
Welcome, my friends, and welcome to the morning show with Uncle Bill. And good morning to the studio audience out here this morning. You guys are looking good this morning. Oh, yeah. I like that fancy blue shirt out there. Ooh, doggy. And that gal sitting out there with the tank top. Yeah, it's going to be hard to concentrate this morning, folks. But that's okay. That's okay. We have a studio audience here that is ready to be entertained, and we are ready to entertain. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee, and like the intro says, hang on, because this is going to be kind of an interesting show. This is our Wednesday edition of the morning show with Uncle Bill, and my official name is Bill Vallant. I'm also known as Uncle Bill of BNNS Radio. And this is this place where you can get real-time answers to all your questions, whether it be news, sports, weather, the news, politics, whatever it is, we have the answers, and we do our best to give you what is right and what is true. Right now, we are starting off our morning here in Belvedere with a cool, comfortable 37, or I'll get it. Read the chart, Bill. Read the chart. 73 degrees with some broken clouds, 79% humidity. The winds are calm. And when I came to work this morning, it was nice out. And we were supposed to get some rain last night, but we didn't. And however, we have a 40% chance or increased chance of getting some precipitation today. Scattered thunderstorms throughout the day and into the evening. High today of 85 degrees. Northeast winds at 6 miles per hour. Humidity is going to be up there at 81%, so it's going to be a little uncomfortable today, but otherwise a typical July summer day. And with that, let's begin the morning show.
Big D, co-host on the morning show with Uncle Bill, right here on BNNS Radio. You'll wonder how you ever got along without him.
Good morning, Uncle Bill.
Good morning, Big D. How are you this morning?
Oh, you know what? We're getting too old for all this new electronic stuff.
That's for sure.
They got more new software, hardware, and ever since the advent of USB, you can plug everything in the world into your... I'm waiting for a plug into my car so I can sit here and talk to it.
You know one thing that really has got me irked right now?
What's that?
These people that build computers, these companies that build computers,
yeah,
in their infinite wisdom, they all seem to have the same opinion that computers run better on Wi-Fi than hardwire. Have you noticed that a lot of especially laptops, and everybody seems to be going to laptops. I mean, you can buy desktops every day of the week for little or nothing, because everybody wants to be able to be mobile and take their computers with them. And I am assuming that in their wisdom, they think because they're going portable with a laptop, they don't need to be wired to the internet. But what if you buy a laptop that you want to connect to the internet hardwire? Because I don't really like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is easily interceptable, plus you get faster and better reception with hardwire than you do through the Wi-Fi. There's less fluctuation, so on and so forth. But yet, it's very hard to find a laptop computer anymore that has an ability to plug a hard wire into it for the internet, or to your router, whatever.
Oh,
I notice that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I can tell you why they do it, Uncle Bill, because so many of these so-called geeks out there, you still got to know how to play with it to get the maximum out of Wi-Fi or out of wireless anything.
Right.
And it's just it's a geeky thing.
Well, but I don't want to say I'm a geeky guy, but I want to be able to hardwire. I bought a wire to run from my router downstairs all the way upstairs to run my laptop upstairs on. Because if you buy a desktop, you got all these wires you got to contend with. You have
a text message.
Here we go again.
Here we go. Turn it off, Bill. I just turned it off. You got all these wires. You got a wired mouse or maybe wireless, but you still have your keyboards. You have your power cords. You have your internet cords. You just have all these wires, and I'm. It's a double-edged sword because I'm sick of wires.
Well,
but yet.
Well, here's the thing, Uncle Bill. Now, in some cases, wireless is a good thing. I'm sitting here with a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard, and they work absolutely flawlessly. But they're only about 1.5 feet, 2 foot from the computer.
Right.
But yet, if I go upstairs and use wireless Wi-Fi, depending on many things, I can lose up to half of my Wi-Fi speed or more.
Yep. Yep, exactly, and that's the thing that irritates me. And while like I said, it's a double-edged sword. And before we go too much further, I want to get our crack research and somewhat computer professional in here, our resource officer, and that is Craig out there in Omaha. Good morning, Craig.
Morning.
How are you this morning?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Well, I'm doing better than you are.
D?
You know who Craig reminds me of this morning? Do you remember that cartoon Lippy the Lion? And he had the little hyena next to him, little sidekick. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
Oh my! Oh, this is gonna go horribly wrong. Who loves you, baby? Who loves you?
One thing you guys forgot to mention about the Wi-Fi. In fact, I think it was just mentioned. I'm sorry. The speed. When you wire your laptop to the wall, you significantly increase the speed.
Oh, absolutely.
But a lot of people just think of the convenience, and then they complain because they don't have the speed that they should.
Well, and Comcast makes no bone about it, because I happen to have the Wi-Fi Extreme with my computers set up at home. I have the quad package from Comcast, which includes Wi-Fi, internet service, telephone service, alarm service, and we have all that through our Comcast account. And they will, and I argued with them about the Wi-Fi. I said, how come I'm not getting maximum speed? Now, see, my download speed on my Extreme is supposed to be at least 130 down and about anywhere from 35 to 40 up. And if I hardwire, I'll break 130. I'll get about 150 download, and upload I go up to about 40. But if I disconnect my wire and I try to run my computer off of Wi-Fi, I'm lucky to get 100 out of it. Now, for many people, 100 would be great. And see, and I keep trying to explain to these people that I don't care about the download speed. I can download programs rather quickly. My problem is that I have to do a lot of uploading, because programs that I upload on for programming purposes for the radio station to continue throughout the day, I said it takes somewhere up of sometimes 5-10 minutes to upload a show. And I said, I need that faster upload speed. So they said, well, you're going to have to hardwire it. So I had to go out and buy 100 feet of Cat 5 or Cat 6 wire and wire my system.
And did that satisfy it?
Yes. I'm pushing maximum. In fact, I'm above maximum that I'm supposed to be getting when we do a speed test.
Yeah. Well, you know,
if I remember correctly, aren't the Wi-Fi ports the same way as the old serial bus ports? They were rated for speed. You could buy a serial port a serial card that the more you spent, basically, the more you spent for the card, the faster the port was. And this I'm not sure about. I was just thinking that the Wi-Fi is like that also. Wi-Fi ports have speed limitations also. Am I correct in that?
Yes. Because it depends. I think I'm assuming you're correct, not being a techie, but I'm assuming you're correct because it depends on what modem they send you. And the modem that they sent me for my Extreme is a dual. It's a dual frequency or a dual. What do they call it?
Yes, mine's like that also. I'm not talking about your modem, though. I'm talking about say we're talking about laptops. I was thinking that when you go to buy a laptop, they advertise this Wi-Fi, it's capable of this Wi-Fi or that Wi-Fi. And the more you spend, the better the Wi-Fi is in your laptop.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I don't know. I've never actually gotten into that. We'll have to save that one for Michael because I'm not sure if the Wi-Fi. I don't know what the Wi-Fi intercept in your laptop is capable of. Maybe it's only capable of receiving a certain speed.
I'll tell you what else will hurt is when you go in and look at it. Believe it or not, still today, some computers are their network port will only handle up to 100 megabytes. That's as high as it'll go. So it doesn't really matter how much you've got coming down or going up. If your network on your computer won't handle it, you're cutting your own throat. That's why when what was it up in Huntsville, Alabama, they put in that new fiber system where they were getting 900 and plus megs down and 900 plus megs up, but people were calling up saying, "Hey, I'm not getting that. I'm not even getting close to that." And then come to find out it's because the network port in their computer wouldn't handle it.
Well, that's what I was saying. I that's one thing that I have never considered when I went to purchase a computer. I always look at processor speed, the amount of memory, and the size of the hard drive, storage, hard drive, and things like that. But there's never any listing on the box of what or the spec sheet. There's nothing listed as what the capabilities of Wi-Fi. All it'll tell you is that it does have Wi-Fi. But it doesn't tell you the capacity or size of or whatever you call it that indicates what speeds it will accept.
The way it was described to me, Big D, kind of going off what you said, in West Omaha here, they're dragging fiber optic to entire sections of town. They're dragging them to the house, and just what you said, people are complaining that they're not getting that speed. Well, they're not dragging the Wi-Fi inside the house all the way to the computer. So even if they have a Wi-Fi or a fiber optic enabled computer, it's kind of like having an 8-lane interstate going to the house, and then it cuts it down to 2 lanes to go to this computer that can handle 8 lanes. It just bottlenecks there.
So how do you overcome it?
You have to pay someone to drag fiber optic from where the cable company drags it through your house to your computer.
But
either buy a fiber optic cable or have someone drag it through the house.
Are all computers capable of receiving fiber optic?
They're capable of receiving it, but they're not fiber optic enabled cards. You have to have a card that to fit into your computer that handles fiber optic.
So we're coming back to the reality of when a high-definition television came out, or even going back to digital signals, and people called up and they ordered digital TV, or now it's all high definition, and they complain, well, I'm not getting, my picture isn't any better than it was before. Well, it's because you're still using an old CRT television.
Exactly.
And we used to tell people in the business, your picture on your TV is only as good as what it's capable of receiving. And if it's only capable of receiving an analog signal, you can't expect it. A digital will improve your picture to a slight degree, but almost unnegligible with the human eye. There will be some improvement, but not what you expected. Because when you buy a compatible high-definition HDMI or whatever TV and you plug it in for the first time, if you just don't go, wow, then, you don't have the equipment. Because I remember when I first got my first real high definition, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was almost like you were there. I mean, they zoom in a football game and you can see the blood on the knuckles of the ball player, or you can see every blade of grass on the ground when they zoom in on the ball. But yet on a regular TV, you don't get that.
Now, see, for me, I can look at the same television. My youngest son's got a really high-end television, and I got to tell you the story why. He had a nice television before, and he's got a boxer that was playing in the living room and had his chew bone and was whipping it around and set it right in the middle of his $2,000 television. So Jimmy went out and he bought the latest and greatest curved television, high definition and all that.
Yeah.
And we were over there and he had it on and was telling me how great the picture was. Well, because of my vision, I don't see it. Everyone else in the room is like, oh my God, this is fabulous. And to me, it just looked like a regular television because of my vision. And that's why I'm bringing this story up. Depending on how good your eyes are, is how good you're going to pick up the television.
That's true.
If you've got cataracts, you're not going to see high definition television.
That's true. Do you know the difference between a curved TV and a regular flat TV?
Other than curved?
Yeah. Why did they curve the TV? Why did that become popular?
I have no clue. It's rotten to look at from the side.
True. Dee, do you know?
Wasn't it because of they were mimicking like movie screens, or what's that new theater that uses
Panavision?
No, what is that? What's the new wide film?
IMAX?
IMAX, yeah. Aren't they trying to go with the IMAX thing?
No.
Because aren't IMAX screens curved?
In a sense, you're right. No, IMAX is, well, it does have some curve to it. But the reason that I have tried to push the curved TV, although it has not successfully gone over like they had hoped for, other than the cost, and maybe as the cost comes down, more people will get into it. But if you put a flat screen TV on top of a curved TV and compare the two playing the exact same picture, excuse me, you will see the difference. What the difference is that if you look directly into the center of the screen of a flat screen TV, your eyes you will see it, but you're not seeing it, if that makes sense. You're actually seeing the edges of the picture, but you don't know what's really in those edges. In other words, you have to move your eyes just to the edge of the screen to be able to make out the detail of what's on the edge of that screen. When you take a curved TV and you look at the center of the screen, you can see the entire picture. So it follows the line of your peripheral vision is basically what it's doing. So when you watch a curved screen TV, you're actually seeing more of the picture without moving your eyes around the screen. It's like when you go to a theater. If you sit in the back of a theater and you watch the screen, you can see the entire picture. But if you sit in the second or first or third row of the screen, you've got to turn your head from side to side to see the peripheral sides of the picture. So it's basically the same scenario, but by using a gigantic... Do you remember the panoramics where the screen was a full 180 degrees?
Wasn't that Panavision?
It could have been that. I don't remember exactly what they called it, but the screen actually went 180 degrees from your left to your right, and they used 4 projectors to project that image.
I saw Jaws at Indian Hills on Dodge Street the first time I saw Jaws. And it's kind of what you said. You are absolutely immersed in the movie.
Yep.
And it struck me, I mean, I'm 55 years old now, and I still remember Jaws really striking me back then because it's like you were there.
Yep. Yep.
That's sad that technology went away.
Yeah.
Damn, that was annoying.
All right, well, let's change up a little bit here and talk about a few other things that I've put up on the screen. Craig our research team has sent a couple suggestions for shows that we're going to do next week, so we're going to have to, maybe at the end of the show, we'll give you an idea what we're going to talk about so you can bone up on some of the stuff that, and maybe get some questions ready or some commentary. And I do apologize, and I want to recognize all the people that are in our chat box this morning. Perry was in there, but he had to leave. He's got his grandchildren over today, and he's playing daddy babysitter today, or grandpa babysitter, I should say. But we still have Ryan and Peggy, and Miss Liz is in there this morning. And I don't know if Miss Liz is on her desktop or she's at home. We can bring her into the picture if she wants to be there. Diane was there, but she had to leave, I guess, or somebody. Have a good week, everyone. We'll email Uncle Bill later. Diane just stopped in to say hi and goodbye. So it's one of those weeks or one of those days where everybody's got something pre-lined up. Okay. Flooding last week destroyed all the cash in the vault of a southeastern Wisconsin bank. The Fox River State Bank President Keith Pollock won't disclose exactly how much money was ruined, but he said that the Federal Reserve will have to replace every single dollar, according to the AP reports. Pollock tells WISN TV that the vault at the bank in Burlington, 35 miles southwest of Milwaukee, is water resistant, but not waterproof. As the Fox River rose above flood stage, water flooded the bank, rising up to 21 inches deep inside the facility, and now the river is back below flood stage, and restoration crews have started the cleanup. The bank's documents are drying, though most are backed up electronically. Kind of makes me wonder, how safe is your personal belongings in a safe deposit box? Anybody knowledgeable out there on banks? I thought them banks were waterproof or airproof. You know, when they shut that door, I thought it... I know when I worked for our bank here in Belvedere, you shut that door, and if it wasn't for inside the ventilation, you were done. And as far as I know, because they put most vaults in the basement of banks, that they're all waterproofed. But apparently this one isn't. Maybe it's an old bank. I don't know.
You know, Bill, that story sounds a little hinky to me.
Why?
For the reason you just said.
Well, I guess that's what kind of struck me, D, when I first read the article, and the only reason I brought it up is the fact that I have personal belongings, and I'm not going to tell you the contents, but some of it would be devastating if I lost it, basically for insurance purposes, but I'm assuming... And, of course, now the water would have to really, really go deep in that bank vault in order to get to my safe deposit box, because it's well over my head high. So water would have to go probably at least 9 feet before it would get to my safe deposit box. But
well, I've seen how they construct those. I've seen how bank vaults are constructed firsthand, and believe it or not, a lot has not changed in the construction, and the materials have changed. But I don't see how a flood, unless he left the vault door open and stuff was sitting in the middle of the vault, I don't see how it washed it away.
Well, now that you mentioned that, I didn't even think of that, because it doesn't really say at what time of the day that the flood struck. And it could have came at such a fast pace that nobody could get downstairs and be able to shut the door. Now, the bank door, well, I shouldn't go into that detail. I should not disclose that for logical reasons, but
that's why I'm picking my words very carefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see how flood waters could get into the vault if it came through during the daytime.
But still,
if it was nighttime, I doubt very much if they would have had the flooding.
But still, it would have had to happen very quickly, because bank rules, any natural disaster or other such thing, that bank door has to get slammed shut. Am I not correct on that, Bill?
Well,
and the new ones now, in case if a fire alarm goes off, the bank door closes automatically. If the burglar,
I don't think ours does.
I
don't think ours does.
If somebody presses a silent alarm, the bank door closes. And
I don't see how they could have it so that it would close automatically. God forbid there's someone in there. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just trying to think logically that there has to be some way to verify there's no one in there before that door shuts.
Trust me, there's safety precautions taken. That's all I'll say. And
then the other side of that is, if it's, one of you said that it has to be shut if something happens. If it's not automatically done, you're relying on people that make, what, $15 an hour?
Well, I mean, that's part of your job.
Yeah, well, nowadays, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not trying to be argumentative, just something.
No, I mean, it's logical questions that people would ask.
Interesting. It's interesting.
I know that my company, in one of the banks here, one of the big banks here in Omaha, my company put in what's it called? Retina scanners. You could not get into your safe deposit box, into the safe, unless you scanned, you put your eye up and it scanned your retina. But they only did it on, I know of one bank vault, and it was the large one. The only reason I know is because they were laying on the desk and we were playing with them, figuring out how to set them up and all that. I would think that would be a big inconvenience. So maybe that's why they didn't sell more of them. Hello. Dead air. Did I drive you guys off?
No, we're still here. We're still here. I'm trying to contemplate. I'm trying to contemplate the whole. I agree with you 100% on a lot of that stuff. Well, and it's very difficult to discuss this situation because if I were to disclose some of the information that I have, especially about the local banks here in town that I worked for, I would be it'd be pretty touch and go situation because it gives out too much information for, unscrupulous listeners, especially being broadcast on YouTube.
Well, that's why I didn't name which bank. Here in Omaha, they did that too.
Yeah. So I guess we just have to be careful. So I guess they have to assume, and again, assuming is not always the best way to go or best approach to take, but I'm assuming that this flood came during the daytime and nobody was able to get downstairs to shut the door and seal it. And once you shut the door, you can't open it because it's on a timing device.
No, I didn't know that. I knew it's on a timing device, but I didn't know that you could not open it in the middle of the day.
Nope. Only certain individuals, I think, can come in and override it, but you're pretty much out of business for the rest of the day once you shut the door.
I have to believe that if that door's shut, it is watertight. As easy as it is to make things watertight, I have to believe that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm 90% because we had to have a dehumidifier in the vault because when you shut the door, the humidity could corrode and destroy internal components of the vault door. It could destroy internal components of things that are in people's safe deposit boxes and so on and so forth. Now, keep in mind, safe deposit box vaults are usually not the same vault that they keep the money in.
You just brought something up, though. If they make them watertight, but yet they do have air so someone doesn't suffocate in there.
Absolutely.
Well, then they're not watertight.
Well, there's a ventilation system usually in the ceiling.
Yes, it would be in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So depending how deep the flood gets.
Yeah. I mean, if the entire building was to flood, there's nothing going to stop it because, like you said, it would get in through the air vents.
Right.
Okay, moving on to another topic. Remember the story that I talked about? I don't remember if it was the beginning of the week or if it was last week. That's what happens when you get to be an old man like me.
They're just a bunch of pansies.
Well, for you folks out there in listening land, is it obvious Big D got his noises working? I kind of missed them.
Well, I thought it was kind of a blessing that they weren't there.
Oh, no, I like them.
Damn, that was annoying.
Just so he doesn't do the heavy breathing one. Hey, I don't know. Again, like I said, when you get my age, you can't remember yesterday, let alone a week ago. But at one point, remember the young lady that I reported on? I believe I reported on this Monday that a woman called because she heard suspicious noises outside, and she called the authorities. And when the police officer pulled up in front of the house, she walked out of the house in her pajamas and was talking to the officer when she was shot and killed. The officer who was driving the squad car was not the one that did the shooting. It was his partner sitting across in the passenger seat that shot and killed the woman. Apparently, and this is where it reinforces what Big D and I have said a lot on this show, is that you cannot knee-jerk react to a lot of stories that you read on social media or other internet sources, that you have to wait until law enforcement or the proper authorities investigate and determine circumstances of a case. Because apparently, and this is a possibility that they feel that has caused some light upon this case, apparently fireworks may have played a role in the fatal shooting of an Australian bride to be in the Minneapolis on Saturday night, but investigators are having trouble finding out more because the officer involved has clammed up. Minnesota's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is investigating the shooting of Justine Damon, and it says Matthew Harity and the other officer present has told them he was startled by a loud sound, and as they drove down an alley, following up on Damon's 911 call about a possible sexual assault in progress. The BCA says Harity told them Damon approached the driver's side window of the squad car immediately afterward and was shot by Officer Mohammed Noor. The loud sound may have been the aerial fireworks referred to in radio conversations between Noor, Hannity, dispatchers, and other officers in the area, reports the Sydney Morning Herald. The BCA says Noor declined to be interviewed by investigators, and his lawyer didn't say when, if ever, an interview would be possible. Minneapolis Mayor Betsy Hodges said the lack of information is frustrating, and we cannot compel Officer Noor to make a statement, but she wishes he would make one. And in an interview Wednesday, Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said that diplomats are seeking information on the shocking and inexplicable killing. So do you feel that there's a strong probability that officers are jumping nowadays?
I've got a lot of questions on this one.
Go ahead.
I mean, what went on that a fireworks could startle him?
Well,
and I mean, he's sitting here. Wait a minute. He's sitting here. Okay, she came up to the driver's window, correct? Is that what the article said?
That's what they said, yeah.
All right, he's looking at her. She's probably got one or both hands right there where he can see them. And a fireworks went off and he shot her?
Was she black?
No.
Oh. I figured if she was black, well, that's why he shot her, because cops hate black people.
That's not true.
Well, that's what we'd be led.
Media tells everyone anyway.
Well, according to media, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I meant that sarcastically.
Okay. Well, I'm like you, D. I can see some holes in this, but number one, I don't understand why the officer would clam up and not be willing to cooperate and with the authorities investigating officers completely, because his silence only makes, in my opinion, silence is not golden in this case or in any case. Sometimes you just need to let investigators know what's going on. So how do they know what's going through your head at the moment? Now, I can sympathize on the fact that police officers today are kind of jumpy, because when you're sitting in your squad car and somebody comes up to your car and pops one off and kills somebody, kills a police officer who's sitting there doing nothing more than writing a report, just for the mere sake that we've got this vendetta out about killing police officers. I could see where a volley of fireworks or a fireworks explosion could startle an officer to the point that, and
if you're in a suspicious situation, but from the sounds of it, this was not a suspicious situation.
Why?
I mean, there's nothing in the article that suggests she came out upset, aggravated, or any of that. She reported a crime.
But doesn't make any difference, D. She reported a crime in progress. How easy would it be for me to sit down and call the police officers, and if I was intent on killing a police officer, and I made a 911 call that I have a burglar in my backyard attempting to get into my back door, or I'm hearing suspicious sound, whatever it might be, and when the officers get there and I go out to greet them, I'm going to come out calm and casual. I'm not going to come out freaking out. And I walk up to the car and I have a handgun and boom, I pop off a cop.
But
now,
that has happened in the United States.
Oh, absolutely.
Just what you said, Bill.
But here's my point. This is my point, Bill. What did she do that had this guy on high alert?
Well, see, to me, D, just the thought and the idea that people are offing cops, and I apologize for using street language here, but people are offing cops for no apparent reason, other than there's all of a sudden a hate for law enforcement. So she didn't have to do anything startling. He didn't have to do anything startling. Nothing startling had to occur other than she called in a possible crime in progress, got the cops there. I mean, let's take a look at it in a different frame of mind, very similar to the joke that I told the other day, where the guy calls and claims that there's burglars breaking into his garage, and the dispatcher tells him there are no officers available at that moment, and which is a very possible real-time scenario, because you know, if you have a small town like Belvedere, well, we're not really small like Carter Lake or, you know, some of those other places where I grew up, but you have a relatively small town where you've only got 6 officers at the maximum at any given time on duty, and much often they run less than that, and it's very possible those officers could all be tied up. And somebody calls and says there's a burglary in progress going on in my backyard. And the dispatcher says that all the officers are tied up at the moment. We'll get them there as quickly as we possibly can. And so the gentleman gets a little irate with this because By the time the cops get there, these guys are going to make entrance into his garage, steal his stuff, and then the cops come by just to write a report. He may never see his personal property again. So he calls back and says, I just called in and said that there was a burglary in progress. Well, you can forget about the call because I just shot the 3 of them. And instantly you had 6 squad cars in your driveway and cops running all over, and they captured the 3 criminals. And the sergeant walks up and says, I thought you told me you shot these guys. And he said, well, your dispatcher told me you guys weren't available either. So my point of that is that we can call in a suspicious activity just to get the officers to the scene. And then you go off and you off them, and just for the mere sake that you want to kill a cop.
The other thing, I heard somewhere along the line, you said he was sitting in the car, right?
Right.
I was told that when an officer's sitting in the car, that's a very vulnerable position.
It is.
Because he can't move freely like he can when he's out of the car.
Right. And you find it very difficult to draw your weapon while you're sitting in your car.
I would feel very defensive sitting there if someone came up to the window.
That's why a lot of police officers, when they're making a traffic stop and the guy gets out of the car and walks back towards the police officer, they will tell them to get back in your car, stay there, keep your hands visible. They do not allow people to approach. And if you've noticed lately that police officers no longer approach a driver's car in most major cities anyway. I'm not saying some of your small rural departments still do it the old way, but the new way is that they approach on the passenger side. And they do that for 2 reasons. They will be able to see a person pulling a weapon faster if they're on the passenger side. Secondly, is that less officers are getting hit by passing vehicles if they're approaching on the passenger side. But one of the main reasons is that you will see a person, if they, you know how some people will shove a gun down between their legs, or they stick it under their leg and it's hidden out of the officer's view, and when the officer comes back to issue the ticket, he comes up, boom, and he blows the guy away. Whereas if he has to come up with the gun and reach across the seat, that gives that extra 0.5 to 1 second of time for that officer to react and either just drop down and get out of the line of sight or be able to draw his weapon and protect himself. So police officers are becoming very, very vulnerable and very, very cautious today. And I can see both sides of this scenario. Being a former officer, you're sitting in your car. Now, why they were sitting in the car, I don't know. I don't know if it was after they checked the alley and did not find anything.
Now, wait a minute. You're saying there was more than one officer?
Yeah, there was the 2 officers. One was driving and he had a passenger. The driver of the squad car did not shoot the woman. It was the passenger.
And the woman was at what window?
The driver's side.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it was after the fact that they drove down the alley, did not see any suspicious activity, and then they pulled up in front of the house and the woman came out. Those details have not really been clarified yet. And why they didn't stop and get out of the car and approach the woman instead of allowing her to approach the car. I can see some protocol that wasn't followed on this scenario. And then all of a sudden you're standing there talking to somebody and all of a sudden, boom, and you don't know whether somebody's shooting or what, and you overreact and you end up
Well, here's you brought up a couple of things. Number one, there's a lot of questions as to why he pulled his weapon and shot her. And secondly, like you said, he's not talking. And what is really throwing a whole monkey wrench into this, am I not mistaken, but isn't this guy Islamic?
Well, I guess I don't see where that has anything to do in this case.
Well, I can. You talk about how jumpy police officers are. How jumpy are a lot of parts of the world right now?
Now, who are you talking about? The shooter was Islamic?
Yeah, the police officer that shot her.
I don't remember reading that part of the article.
Well, the name kind of lends.
I read a story on this last night, or actually a couple of stories that indicate he's Islamic, and that's what's throwing a big monkey wrench in all of this.
Well, in the chat box, Peggy said something. She says, "What if the cop was a vet, having been in direct combat and has PTSD?"
There again, you have another possibility. See, let's not jump to conclusions based on this article. They're just trying to, because this officer is mush-mouthed or hush-mouthed and he's not cooperating, and by giving a statement and so on and so forth. Let's not jump to conclusions here at this point. They're just saying that apparently there were fireworks in the area, according to witnesses, and the fireworks may have been a contributing factor in the police officer shooting of an unarmed Australian woman. And they're making a big issue out of it because she was due to get married 2 weeks, and she's over here from Australia to get married, and again, a couple other mitigating factors is that this officer is not cooperating with the authorities. So let's just leave it at that, and we could try to pick it apart, and I'm sure they're trying to pick it apart as much as they possibly can, whether or not protocol was followed, was procedure followed, and all that kind of stuff. And it just basically, we'll try to keep an eye on this story, that this very easily could be something that can get cleared up. And again, people are irate, people are upset because another cop kills an unarmed individual, a young woman who is about to get married, and right away the sympathetic side of the human nature comes out, and right away the officer is wrong, he's the bad guy, and everybody else is the victim. And but this may turn out to be a whole different scenario once all the facts are in, and once he makes a decision, or once the investigators are able to complete their investigation, we might find a whole new string of things that could change the whole aspect of this entire case. And we're like you guys
said, though, the big part is he's not talking.
Right.
What's his partner saying, though?
I don't know.
Because if there's two of them, his partner knows what happened just as much.
Well, he may be as dumbfounded as everybody else is as to why his partner shot.
Sure.
We're going to take a break. And we're going to take a break here in just a second. And we're at the top of the hour, and give everybody a chance to take a breather, and Peggy can refill her coffee cup and get some more toast, what if, you know. I have another interesting story about the little blue pill, and we'll do that and more with the weather coming up right after this.
indestructible, indescribable, infinite love, indestructible, indivisible, inconceivable is your greatness and love. You are creator, you are the master, you are the air I breathe, eternal Prince of Peace. You are forever, you are my comforter. All these things and more, you are unbelievable, undeniable, unending, under your grace. I found of mercy, strong mountain of mercy, pure water to quench my dying thirst. You are creator, you are the master, you are the air I breathe, eternal Prince of Peace. You are forever, you are my comforter. All these things and more, you are the great. I am amazed, my soul awaits to see the God you are. See the God you are. You are creator, you are the master, you are the air I breathe, eternal Prince of Peace. You are forever, you are my comforter. All these things and more, you are. You are the air I breathe, eternal Prince of Peace. You are forever, you are my comforter. All these things and more, all these things and more, all these things and more. You
Just when you thought it was safe to turn on your computer. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill on BNNS Radio.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, chug, chug, chug. If this is how your car is sounding, you need to call 815-544-0537. That's right, my friends. Belvedere Auto Clinic, located 301 West Locust Street, Belvedere, Illinois. Call and ask for Tom. He can make your car run like new. That's right. Belvedere's best-kept little secret is Belvedere Auto Clinic. You need to call today, 815-544-0537. Come on, do it now. Hey, just a little bit of tidbit information about Tom down there at State Street Auto Rebuilders. We're going to put bleachers up out in front of his shop now. They just resurfaced the road at Locust Street right in front of his his building, and we made comments many times. Tom has made comments about the people speeding by his place. I mean, they go by their 45, 50 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, and can never seem to get anybody done or down there to do some enforcement. And now that they've got the street paved and it's nice and smooth, man, it's going to be drag strip alley. So we're going to put bleachers up and sit out there and sell popcorn and drinks, maybe some hot dogs if it gets really good. And we'll watch the cars as they drive by. Now, the sad part of it is that the YMCA is located right there, and we got people crossing the street all day long. And some of those people come flying down that street. If somebody was to walk out in that crosswalk, which by law the cars are required to stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk, it ain't going to happen, folks. But don't let that stop you from taking your car down to State Street Auto, or I'm sorry, to Belvedere Auto Clinic, and give Tom a chance to work on your car. And you got to do it quickly because Tom might be having some time off here in a little bit. I'm not going to say why, but you got to make arrangements to get down there. So anyway, that's our good friend Tom down there at Belvedere Auto Clinic, 301 West Locust Street. He's a strong sponsor and supporter of BNNS Radio. He's also the official watchdog for BNNS Radio. When the radio station goes out, if for some reason, if it gets a interruption in the internet or something, he's on the phone letting me know it's awful quiet down here, and the guys working for him don't like his singing. So go down and see Tom and tell him that you heard about him on BNNS Radio.
Whether looking to buy a vehicle or in need of repairs, State Street Auto Rebuilders specialise in restoration, street rod building, collision repair and towing, as well as being a used car dealership and rentals. Located at 420 Fairview Street, Belvedere, Illinois, State Street Auto Rebuilders have been in business since 1982. For quotes and service, telephone State Street Auto Rebuilders on area code 815-544-7013.
And that's Mr. Kit down there at State Street Auto Rebuilders, another one of our fine sponsors and supporters of BNNS Radio. And he's the guy that will tow your car to Tom's, or he will tow it into his shop, and he'll make it look like new if it's battered and beaten up. And Mr. Kit will make it look like a brand new car. And if you take it down to Tom's, Tom will make it run like new. So it's a win-win situation. You get them two guys together, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars going to some of the competitors, and they'll make your cars run great. And which brings up the idea that you too can be a supporter of BNNS Radio by either sending us an email and telling us you'd like to sponsor or support the radio station, or you can just simply sit down and write out a check, put it in an envelope, and be sure to mark it for BNNS Radio, and that'll help us out as well. Or you can...
Hey, give us a call at 815-544-2967. We'd love to hear your thoughts, views, and opinions. It's easy. Just dial 815-544-2967. Do it now.
Come on, do it now!
That's right. If you'd like to be a part of the show, either way, just give us a call, 815-544-2967, and be a part of the show live on the air, or just to chat with us. Whatever tickles you, we're ready for it. Hey, right now in Belvedere, we are currently sitting at 80 degrees, feels like 83 already. 69% humidity, very few clouds in the sky this morning. Winds are calm. And we're expecting a high today of 86. And would you believe they actually, within the last hour, they have taken out of the forecast the rain for today? Remember, I reported at the top of the 8 o'clock hour when we began the show, there was a 40+% chance of precipitation today. Nope, not anymore. They've canceled that, and we're down to 20%. And humidity is at 77 degrees. So it's going to remain partly cloudy throughout the day. High of 86, 71 overnight, partly cloudy overnight. So, again, it's going to be a nice day. So if you've had something planned for outside, go ahead and do it. We've taken the rain out of the forecast, and everything is looking great here in northern Illinois, although we could use a touch of rain to keep the grass green and rich looking as it is. Out in Omaha right now, they're at 82 degrees, feels like 86, as they have scattered clouds and the humidity at 69%, winds out of the southeast at 20 miles per hour. And the expected high today there, hang on folks, 97 degrees. 97 degrees with a 62% humidity won't be too bad. If that humidity was up there, it would be a real bad situation. But they've only got a 62% humidity, and so 97 for a high, 78 overnight. And so you're going to need lots of air conditioning today. And if you do go out in the sun, be careful. Wear some kind of sun guard, and everything will be fine. Big D, what's it like in the southeast?
Well, currently here at the double-wide underground bunker in Franklin, Georgia, is 75 degrees, finally under sunny skies. Yay! We finally have sunshine without clouds today, nor a chance of thunderstorms. But, of course, around here, you never know. It's 80 in Dauphin Island, Alabama, and cloudy. It's 69 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's 69 and sunny in Farmington, 86 in Phoenix, Arizona. It is 82 in Dallas. It's 54 and raining again in Anchorage, Alaska, 73 in London, and 88 in Frankfurt, Germany.
Whoa! Hey,
now we just got done in Phoenix, Arizona, with having temperatures in excess of 110 degrees, correct?
Yeah.
In the last few days, it hadn't even hit 90. It's actually, well, we were doing weather where it was already over 100 degrees this time of the morning, and they're looking at 101 today, but that's normal for Phoenix.
Oh, yeah. But it's much nicer out there, though, because they don't have any humidity.
But, yeah, it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
Horse hockey. It's hot.
Oh, I mean, 100 degrees is hot. But tell me this. How can 100 degrees be hot when your body temperature is 98.6?
You know, I agree with you totally.
You would think 100 degrees would be warm, but you get out in 100-degree temperatures and everybody's going, oh my God, it's so hot, I can't stand it, you know, and it's just like, oh, or you set your bath water at 110 degrees or 100 degrees and it feels cool. But yet your body temperature is only 98.6, and you know, how can you be? I don't get it.
Can I enter in here?
Yeah, sure.
Your body is designed to constantly put off heat, and it's kind of like your air conditioner in your house. See if I can keep my train of thought here. Your air conditioner in your house is designed to cool your house, but if you get a lot of people in your house, your air conditioner is not going to keep up. And it's kind of like that with your body. If you're sitting still in 100-degree air, it's not near as bad as if you're moving, because your body is constantly generating heat. your body is constantly trying to cool itself because it is generating heat. Well, of course, at 100 degrees, you're not able to cool yourself near as well as at 70 degrees. Your body doesn't have to work as hard to cool itself. Does that kind of make sense?
Sure. And I think that's the reason that I am cold all the time. Because my body puts off an extreme amount of heat. My wife cannot cuddle if I'm allowed to share that. But my wife does not like touching my body because my body is so hot to her touch that it's very uncomfortable for her.
Now, when I cuddle Debbie, it's the exact same way. I love to cuddle her, but I can only handle so long because she puts off so much heat.
Yep.
And now, she's exactly like you. She's cold all the time.
All right, guys, this is starting to sound like a Playgirl article.
No, I mean, we're talking science here because it's true. If I touch the top of my head, and if I put a stocking cap on my head in the wintertime, I stay much warmer than if I don't. Now, I did also find out that it is not true that the top of your head puts out 65% of your body heat. That is not true. That was proven anyway. But it does keep me warmer because I don't have any hair on the top of my head, as if you're looking at YouTube, you can well see. But my body does expel. When I jump into bed, my bed is almost instantly warm, like sleeping under a heating blanket, because my body puts off so much heat. And
now, what I don't understand is bodies become acclimated to it. I think I've mentioned on the show before, I've got a buddy that works in Dubai, and he's in town for a month visiting, and we went to lunch with him here a week or so ago, and I found out when he's working in Dubai, a good portion of the time, he's working out on the tarmac, and that's 120, 130 degrees. Yeah. And he has become acclimated to it.
Sure.
He says, sure, it's hot, but he said it's nothing like if I'd go stand out there.
And if he was to go to work in a construction zone, he would probably be uncomfortable.
Until they acclimated, yes. He's worked in the Middle East, be it Afghanistan, all of those countries over there.
Sure.
So over the years, he has become acclimated to it. I'll have to ask him how he feels now that he's back here. Because, here in the Midwest, ours is very humid, whereas Dubai, I'm guessing that it's not.
Well, I'm sure he's probably feeling that it's maybe kind of cool here. Even though it's 87 degrees, he might feel like it's cool to him. I know my son-in-law works for Green Giant, and he works in the freezer. And over time, you get accustomed to that freezer temperature, and so you can go in and out of the freezer and not be as cold as if you and I was go in and out of that freezer.
So when he's at home lounging, is he extremely uncomfortable, or has his body learned to adapt to both of them?
In his particular case, he's not in and out of it enough that he has to accommodate either direction. So it doesn't bother him that much. But I'm just saying that he can go in and out of it, and it doesn't really affect him that much. But if you work in it, like my son did when he worked for the Giant, he would spend it. In fact, we always kidded him, boy, that's a kind of a job I want, because for every hour that you work, you get a 15-minute break. So you're actually only in the freezer for 45 minutes, and then you get a 15-minute break, and that's every hour. And we thought, boy, that's cool, 15 minutes You only have to work 45 minutes, and you get to sit down for 15 minutes. I mean, but when you're in that freezer, that 45 minutes can be a long time.
You know, I mentioned this buddy in Dubai, and a thought crossed my mind. Yes, he's acclimated to working in 130 degrees out there in the desert on the tarmac, but when he comes home, he's got air conditioning because his wife and children, they sure don't want it hot in there. So I guess your body would not necessarily become acclimated to just the high temperature. Your body has to learn to adapt at both, quote, normal temperatures and the higher temperatures.
Now, we have our air conditioning at home set on 79, 78. Maureen likes it at 78. When I'm home, she sets it to 79. And to most people, they say, my gosh, how can you live in that heat? Because we know people that keep their air conditioner around the clock at 70, 72 degrees. If we set our house on 72 degrees, we would freeze ourselves out.
Now, when I stay with you, in the past, we always kept our house at 72 degrees, and when I would come stay with you, I would have to lay in bed with the covers off and nothing but my shorts, because I just roasted. I couldn't figure out how you could live like that. Well,
but that's our comfortable temperature. But
I have started raising our temperature to now I keep it at 77.
Really?
And Debbie will still sit in her chair with the blanket on her legs.
Huh. Well,
so I'm learning to acclimate my body to the higher temperature.
Well, see, that's me now. When I come home and Maureen will kick the temperature to 78 to keep it cooler, make it just a tad cooler because, but yet I will get cold even though my body's putting out a lot of heat, but I get cold at 78, where I'm more comfortable at 79. But
I'm guessing the higher your body temperature that you put off, the easier it is for you to get cold.
Apparently. Big D, what do you set your temperature at?
We run about 73.
That comfortable for you?
Yeah.
Because you're acclimated to that.
Apparently so.
Now, was my house hot or cold when you came up here?
We were comfortable at your house.
Let's see, it was 78 or 79, whatever.
Well, it really wasn't that hot when we came up there.
Well, that may be.
Plus,
we've got a friend with a big house. She keeps her house at 68 degrees.
Oh!
When we go over there for a pool party, and then I come in the house to get something to drink or whatever, it's one of those you kind of rush to get what you want and go back out because you're in there in wet shorts. You know what I mean?
Well, there's time. Now, even though our temperature is set at 78, 79 in my house, if I open the garage door to go out in the garage, because, of course, the garage isn't air conditioned, it builds up heat, I actually walk out into the garage, and I love the heat. I love the feeling of that heat at times because I feel cool. And but what I don't understand, and again it comes down to a physics thing, but why isn't 72 72? I mean, when the temperature is 72, 74 degrees outside, everybody's happy. It's beautiful. The weather is just absolutely gorgeous at that time, at that temperature. But if you set your temperature at 72 degrees, which is an average comfortable temperature, why isn't 72 year-round? But it never is.
You lost me on that.
I mean, if you're comfortable at 70, let's just pick an even number, 74 degrees. You set your temperature at 74 degrees. All right, let's put it this way. You set your temperature, your thermostat now at 77 degrees, and you're getting acclimated to that temperature. Why can't you leave your thermostat on 77 degrees all year long and feel as comfortable and in the winter as you do in the summer? But in the winter time, you're going to turn that temperature up so that your house, you're going to turn the temperature up to warm your house more, right?
I turn mine down so that we save money. During the wintertime, I crank it down to 72.
Okay.
And then we wear heavier clothes until we get used to it.
Okay, that's even okay. That's two. So, but why isn't 77 comfortable year-round? Regardless of what it's doing outside, why isn't 77 a comfortable temperature both winter and summer?
I think it's because your body gets acclimated to the cold in the wintertime. I don't know. Dee, does it get cold down south?
Oh, buddy, it can. It can get just as cold down here as it does up there with Bill.
Cold to them is when it goes below 50.
So on an average, Dee, not in a worst case scenario, on an average, what would be a wintertime cold temperature?
During the wintertime, it's not unusual for us to be in the mid-20s to 30.
Oh my goodness! I had no idea it got that cold down south.
Yeah, and you have to remember too, it's very moist here, so you have a lot of extra cold in the air.
I've never looked it up. How far from the coast are you?
Oh, I'm probably 4.5 hours from the coast. But
so
we've got a lot. We've got a lot of lakes.
I think Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia area in there, I think you're almost right on a demarcation line where anything south of you is going to be warmer than where you're at. If you look at latitude, longitude, I think you're at that level where, you're going to get down to around 30 degrees in the wintertime. And anything south of you from there is going to start increasing in 10-degree increments as to the how temperature.
Oh, Bill, we were laughing about that over the wintertime. Remember, we were sitting here looking at temperatures here in Georgia at 35 degrees, and a 4-hour drive to the south of it was 65 and 70.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So again, you're right on that line. I have one last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll turn it over to you with your stories, Dee. But I want to know, and I'm speaking as a professional police officer or a ex-professional police officer, a man who told police that he took 5 times, now stay with me on this story. He took 5 times the recommended dosage of what's the name of the blue pill?
Oh, you're talking about Viagra.
Huh?
Viagra.
Thank you. I couldn't think of it all of a sudden.
Yes, you could.
He took 5 times the recommended dosage, and he was arrested for DUI after investigators said he crashed into a Seattle parking garage. Officers who did not smell the odor of intoxicants from the man on his vehicle, they arrested the Mercer Island man because he was possibly under the influence of prescription drugs, according to the incident report. At the hospital, the suspect made statements to officers about taking a generic version of Viagra, and according to a police incident report, that 59-year-old Mercer Island man told officers that he took 5 pills when the bottle said to only take 1.
Do you get high with Viagra?
I don't know.
Boy,
that's what I'm asking.
No, but
I don't even know if I've ever seen a Viagra pill. let alone
you must take that Cialis?
I don't take anything. I don't need it. But anyway,
Bill doesn't take.
But the point is, they tell you on TV all these ads about Cialis and all these other
male enhancement,
ED,
problems.
That if you end up with for more than 4 hours, you better head for a doctor, because
either head for the doctor or sign up to do films in Las Vegas.
But what I'm saying is, what happens to this guy that takes 5 of these pills?
You know, it's very possible that it could have severely impeded blood flow to the brain.
Well, apparently it affected him somehow, that the police thought he was intoxicated.
Oh yeah, but I mean, think about it. When most men get in that condition, we're stuck on stupid.
Speak for yourself.
You remember the old days. So I can imagine if he took 5 Viagra, this guy was a blithering idiot.
I mean, this guy's got to be ready for the next 24 hours.
Oh, easy. I mean, come on. And I am trying.
Of them, though, is he thinking that the more he takes, I
don't know.
The
more manly he will be.
He's going to become.
Yeah.
It just became an intriguing story to me, because all the warnings they say about this Viagra and what it can do to you, or Cialis, or some of the other names that I don't remember, but they always put in the bottom of the screen or somewhere in there that if you maintain an erection for more than 4 hours, see your doctor immediately. Well, what's this guy thinking? I mean, if it's only supposed to last less than 4 hours, but if you've got one for 4 hours, you're in trouble. What's this guy thinking? He wants to be set for 24 hours? I mean,
You know what's funny about this whole section, this whole segment? People have now seen elephants tap dancing in a minefield. There are so many jokes here and so many things we'd like to come right out and ask, but we can't do it.
Yeah, I know. On this program we can't.
Oh, Think Out Loud Radio is fixing to fire up.
All right. That being said, do you have anything specific, or do we dare talk politics a minute?
Well, I wanted to take a minute, and I wanted to apologize to some people, because I've been in contact with some folks who've listened to the show, and they said that for some reason you're talking about everything but politics. And here it is, Bill. This is the best answer I can give. We're bored with politics. We are absolutely. We have talked in pre and post production, and we are bored with politics. Look, first of all, CNN and other media outlets. We don't know that we're even getting close to the truth. And secondly, what is in the news? Russia.
Oh, did you see the latest Judge Janine Pirro, her rant on that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man, does she go off. Woo!
Oh, she's
unbelievable.
Yeah, but I
have to look for that after the show.
But I mean, for the past 3 months, the news has been the same thing, but we're not hearing the other side of the story. Guys, you're familiar with Antifa, right? The anti-fascist movement, the social justice warriors.
Yeah.
Have you heard what's happening with them? No, you haven't. There are two major things going on with this anti-fascist social warrior BS. And that is, number one, people are getting tired of them. Brown people, black people, white people, working people, rich people, poor people, women, men, Muslims are getting tired of these people. They're getting tired of being hurt. I'm sorry, do what?
I think the average American is actually getting tired of it because I have been noticing recently on my Facebook page that I'm getting far less political postings as what I was just 2-3 months ago. And I really think people are sick and tired of it. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I've kind of deterred from speaking a lot about politics on this show, because I don't want to drive people away because they're so tired of hearing, like you said, Russia, 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 you know, and Trump, Trump, Trump.
I mean, we've had, CNN has been caught now numerous times on undercover video telling the world that the Russian collusion and the obstruction of justice is a nothing burger. It is so prevalent that a hamburger chain out west is offering nothing burgers for free.
Isn't it something that CNN used to be the go-to channel, and now it's almost a laughing stock? It's down there right with MSNBC.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's some news you're not hearing. And this is what's driving people crazy. These Antifa clowns are now, they're not able to generate the groups in a lot of cases that they had been. There are people leaving the Antifa movement because they realize that it's bogus. It's not what they thought it was. They've got average, everyday people now unmasking these folks. Every time they go to attack somebody, average, everyday Americans are retribution is swift and immediate. But we're not hearing about any of this on the news. Even the cops are getting tired of them now. If there's an incident, first person that goes to handcuffs is Antifa. Did you know rock singer Kid Rock is running for Senate?
Oh, yeah, and everybody's freaking out.
Well, everybody that's a liberal is freaking out. Let me tell you what, you may not like his music. A lot of people didn't like Alice Cooper. They thought he was sick. But you know what Alice Cooper told him in an interview? I did it for the money.
Alice Cooper's a very intelligent man.
He's very intelligent. And he has taken his wealth and done a load for his community.
Well, didn't the Hulk do a lot for Minnesota when he ran?
No, that's Jesse Ventura.
Or Jesse, I'm sure.
Jesse Ventura ran in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And look at the good he did in Minnesota. Kid Rock is running. Let me tell you what we're going to see. And I had a feeling about this, but I wasn't quite sure. Donald Trump has broken a glass ceiling.
Yes, he did.
People are now starting to realize I don't have to be a career politician to run for office. And the upside is people like us have woken up and gone, wait a minute, we don't have to vote for a politician.
Now on that, let me jump in here real quick. Just what you said about career politicians here. A number of years ago, people were screaming, both on the Democrat side and the Republican side, screaming, we're tired of career politicians. We need to get someone in there that is not a career politician. Okay, now we have one, and both the Republicans and Democrats hate him.
The politicians hate him. Do you know that I keep reading articles where there are actually people who voted for Hillary and Bernie that are going, wait a minute. This guy might actually be on to something. We don't hear...
on the news this morning, they say his approval rating is 32.
Well, yeah, but wait. Tomorrow you may read a poll that says his approval rating's 65.
I think all the polls are rigged.
Look
how many polls said that Hillary was going to win the election without issue.
Rasmussen, CNN, and a couple of other polls have been caught. They say, well, we polled 1,000 people, but 750 of them were Democrats, liberals.
Now?
Yeah.
And they've been caught doing this. So we really can't trust the polls at any point. And again, like Obama, and I brought this up, do you guys realize what disappeared for the largest part of Obama's presidency? Polls.
Yeah.
Remember, we quit hearing about polls. Under Bush
Go ahead.
Under Bush and Carter, we were inundated with polls almost every other day. But I
haven't heard of any polls in the last several months about Trump.
Well, when you do hear about a poll, people are just not happy with what he's doing.
Well, see, I don't believe in polls anyway. If they never conducted another poll, I wouldn't lose any sleep, because polls don't tell you anything. Because when CNN sends out polls, they're going to send out strictly to Democrats, liberals, and Trump haters.
And you and I
have to do is poll people in the Northeast.
And you and I have asked the question: how can you poll 1,000 people in 2 states and know what the entire country's thinking?
There you go. Let me play just a little short. This is a 7-minute segment, but I'm not going to play the whole 7 minutes, because we're down to like almost 10 minutes left in the show. But let me play just a little bit of Judge Janine here. Just listen, just a little bit of her rant.
Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Janine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. The latest tonight on the CIA interrogation report. One guest who actually says that Senator Dianne Feinstein is an American hero. And Congressman Trey Gowdy who weighs in on the week's headlines. But first, my open. Senator Dianne Feinstein this week released her so-called Senate intelligence report, bemoaning America's brutal and ugly treatment of 9/11 detainees, our enemies.
I'm sorry, that is not the video that I watched yesterday or last night. That I apologize. That's not the one I was looking for.
If you find that link you were talking about earlier, please email it to me. I'd like to hear it.
Oh, she was vicious.
I really liked the woman.
But and that kind of explains in a nutshell why I started out by apologizing that we've kind of steered away from politics lately. Because it's the same horse squeeze.
Yes, it is.
It is. It's been the same horse squeeze for 93 to 4 months.
See, and that's one of the reasons I wanted you to hear a little bit of Judge Janine, because I mean, she's basically saying the same thing. Let's get rid of this Russia crap, and let's move on to what's really important out there. And
well, let me point out a couple of things real quick. Has anybody heard from Maxine Waters lately?
Is she the one that was on the airplane with Clinton?
No. You're thinking Loretta Lynch. Maxine Waters, since day one, since the 5 minutes after Trump's inauguration, 5 minutes, I believe, after he said, "I do," she was hollering, "Impeach Trump." And she's preferenced almost every statement about politics that she's made by Trump's a liar, we need to impeach him. Okay, now what do you want to talk about? And has anybody listened to Nancy Pelosi lately?
Yeah, that woman needs to be in assisted living.
I'm sorry, Nancy, there is something seriously, I'm with you, Bill, there's something seriously medically wrong with this woman.
How can she keep getting elected?
Well, let me tell you something. Little stories you find here and there by independent news agencies are saying even California is getting tired of her and the rest of them.
She is nuts.
In fact, word has it, and I'm trying to find more on it, this new, where they just passed cap and tax, or cap and trade, in the state of California now and raised everybody's taxes. The liberals and the progressives are even getting upset about this.
I heard a lot of people are moving out of California and Illinois. That was just in the news.
Yeah.
A lot of people are leaving Illinois, and a lot of people are leaving California.
You know where they're going?
Texas has got lots of people that are moving in.
Yeah, Texas has increased by almost 1 million people in the last year. And that includes the liberals and the progressives that are, and the Democrat voters that are leaving Texas to move to California, Oregon, Washington. But we're not hearing it in the news.
San Antonio is a pretty liberal city in Texas.
Do what now? Austin.
San Antonio is a pretty...
No, it's Austin.
San Antonio, or is it Austin?
Austin.
Okay, pretty liberal city. So I'm guessing that's where they're moving.
And it's the same old tired stuff. And we keep hearing about a bombshell. Almost every day or every other day we hear about some bombshell. This is it. Trump's finished. It's over. They're going to impeach him. Big news article, 24 representatives of Congress have signed on to impeaching Trump. Woohoo! You need a hell of a lot more than that.
What's the reason for what is the reason they're using for impeachment?
Oh, they're claiming all kinds of things. They still want to impeach him for collusion with Russia. They always claim they've got enough evidence to impeach him, but yet they can't do it. They won't do it.
Even though there's more for Hillary.
Some I read the other day, and I apologize because I was laughing so hard I can't remember, but some senator actually put forth the bill to impeach Trump. And to just put the article down, it was laughed off the floor. See, this is something we're not being told, is there's a lot of Democrats in Congress that they may not be totally supporting Trump on everything, but they're not fighting him either. There are actually Democrats that, because they're junior senators or junior representatives, they don't have the muscle to push past the career people like Nancy Pelosi.
Sure.
And they're kind of stuck in a void. They want to do something, but they can't. So,
well,
that's why I tell people, get out there, read, educate yourself. Get away from the mainstream stuff. I'll tell you what, go to YouTube and look up stuff like the news network, News 365, C-SPAN. Mark Dice. Go look these people up, or just force yourself to watch C-SPAN when they cover the House or the Senate floor. Because remember, they can say almost anything they want to, pretty much, on either the House or the Senate floor, and they can't be charged with libel, slander, or anything. You can outright lie on the floor of Congress, and you can't be charged with anything.
Look under YouTube under Trey Gowdy. What's his name?
Trey Gowdy.
There you go.
Go look at Trey Gowdy. Go look at a couple of these others that are actually bringing facts out. What was it? He got mad because some organization, government department, spent $20 million on firewood.
I really like listening to Trey Gowdy on YouTube. It's quite an education.
Oh, I'll tell you, I would love this man to be the head of the Department of Justice or FBI or some big top investigator.
Or president.
Or president. I mean, this guy is very, very intelligent, extremely well educated as far as what is allowed in government, and let me tell you, he leaves absolutely no stone unturned when it comes to questioning people, and it just tickles me. I'm like you, Craig. I absolutely love this man and his way of thinking. With that being said, we are down to the last 3 minutes of this show. And it usually takes us that long to say goodbye to everybody. And so, again, I'm going on behalf of our sponsors, Tom down at Belvedere Auto Clinic and Mr. Kit over at State Street Auto Rebuilders. I want to thank everybody for their sponsorship, their support, listening in, and all you folks in the chat box. God bless you. Thanks for sticking it out with us this morning. And again, this is our Friday, and we will be back again on Monday with a whole new series. And on Monday, we're going to talk about a subject that Craig wants to talk about, and I think it's going to be an interesting discussion because it's one of the things, it's one of the taboos that they tell you never discuss. So, but we're going to do it here on BNNS Radio. On behalf of BNNS Radio, my staff, and all my chatters and supporters, God bless you. God bless America. God loves you, always has, and always will. Don't ever forget that. Love you. See you back here next Monday. Big D.
All right. This has been another 2 hours of the morning show with Uncle Bill, your ever-knowing, all-seeing eye on the back of a dollar bill, and me, your co-host, Big D. I got one camera, one mic, and I'm going to say something that's going to make somebody mad. And our crack research analysis team of one, Craig. Hey, get out there, read, educate yourself. Remember, God loves you, so do we. We're out of here. See you tomorrow.
And to consider what it might mean to actually follow him. He allowed his disciples, his friends, to run for their lives, completely abandoning him as he was up there on the cross, naked, in agony, being pelted from insults on all sides, including one of the men dying on a cross next to him. He shouted in a loud voice,
It is finished!